The best way to define marketing is, I would call it, constrained creativity.
At the core, you were fascinated by ads, which I think are great with storytelling and creative. But I think it's kind of dying.
One of my favorite quotes where David Ogilvy says that if it does not sell, it isn't creative.
The focus on automation and technology is increasing like crazy.
I think the first responsibility of the CMO and the marketing department is the consumer. You cannot tell your CFO that, oh, we shot a beautiful ad with this celebrity and she said this thing in such a nice way. He's not interested. He wants to know that will this ad sell more stuff.
Hey there, welcome to Marketing Mavericks by Indiefolio. Today, my guest on Marketing Mavericks is Diptakirti Chaudhuri, or Deepto, a marketer whose 25-year-old journey has taken him across FMCG, media, education, automotive, films, and now real estate as the CMO of Casagrand. What makes this story fascinating is how he has built brands and demand in categories where purchases are infrequent, deeply considered, and rarely impulsive. In this conversation, we go back to his first job in marketing, unpack how to identify and influence future buyers, and discuss lessons for both young and experienced marketers. We also explore how AI will reshape marketing teams, roles, and the skills that will matter next. Hey Depto, thanks for your time and welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
You've been in so many categories in so many industries over the last 25 years, be it automotive, today real estate, education in the past, media, and so on. And the first thing I actually wanted to ask you is, if I take us back to 1993, you were studying engineering that time, right? So from being an engineer to doing marketing across so many categories and also being a writer, how is it that the creative and the marketing bug caught you?
Right. That's like really going back to the origin story. My interest in marketing, or rather, started with advertising, really. So I mean, for whatever reasons, as a child, I think advertising stayed with me a little longer than most others. So I remember when I was a really small kid, there was somebody who was doing a sort of a market research, which is like a classical ad recall research, I suppose.
Mhm.
And I kind of took it like a almost like a quiz. It seemed like, and I I answered everything. I mean, it's like I kind of remembered every advertising. That was when I was really small.
Hmm.
And sometime around the time you mentioned, when between 93 to 97, when I was in college, there used to be this very interesting show on the newly launched cable TV of India. It used to be anchored by Bharat Dabolkar, then legendary ad man, and it was basically on the best ads of the world. And that I kind of kept on watching, and sort of developed an advertise love for advertising, which I would later learn is only a very small part of marketing.
I think a lot of people I speak to have a similar journey, right? They love ads, sometimes they love films, and they feel, marketing's like the place to go to. But then the moment you enter in, you realize that, yeah, there are a lot of P's. You have to kind of make business sense out of it. And it becomes more and more analytical. I want to follow up on that with you, as somebody who's now spent so much time in marketing, who also writes, right, and also writes about pop culture and storytelling and films. Um, Tell us, is marketing really for the creative brain, or is it getting more and more analytical? Uh, because whenever you now look into what's trending in marketing, the focus on growth and business, the focus on automation and technology is increasing like crazy. We are also reaching times where, as a creative partner to many brands, I've been told, just give me 100 assets, we'll see what performs the best and double down on that angle, right? So it's no longer like kuch soch ke bolo mujhe. And at the core, you were fascinated by ads, which I think are great with storytelling and creative. But I think it's kind of dying. What is your general take to the younger folks here? What is marketing?
The best way to define marketing, or what is required for marketing, is, I would call it, constrained creativity. You cannot be absolutely open-ended blue sky creative. You are given a certain boundary, uh, of, it could be of time, it could be of money, it could be of some other resources, it is of a messaging, and so on and so forth. So that is very important. It is constrained creativity. And to kind of go back to what you sort of hinted at the beginning, to say that what is the balance between creativity and the metrics, I would say it is somewhere middle. I mean, it is like 50-50 right now.
Okay.
That, and it cannot work one without the other. So you can't say that I am a great analytics person and I'll be very good at marketing, or I am an absolutely creative rock star and I will be good at marketing.
Hmm.
I don't think either of those work. I mean, you cannot compensate one with the other. You have to have a bit of both. It, a 60-40 works, or 40-60 works. I do not know. Maybe a 75-25 also works. But you have to be at a sort of a, like an overlap of those two things, that where you are creative but you are also very cognizant, or also very concerned about what that creative is leading to, what kind of results it is uh, bringing out.
Yeah.
I mean, if I may use one of my favorite quotes, where David Ogilvy says that if it does not sell, it isn't creative. So the creativity is obviously there, but the metric is also there, that it has to sell.
I want to now ask you something I think you mentioned very briefly right now, which is you've been across multiple buyer journeys, right, in your life. Some are impulse purchases, but some, like automobile or real estate, are definitely not. And I wanted to just follow up on that a bit. I think a lot of marketers and founders as well, building in those complex buying journey categories, right? Let's say getting a home, getting a car, are always thinking on how do you target the right users, because predicting when they'll transact is so hard, right? When does somebody want to buy a house? When does somebody want to do this or that? And I would love to know from you, what's generally a strategy or a takeaway you'll have for anybody who's marketing to such a category.
See, the way I figure it out is that you know where it ends. When a person, in my case, gets admitted into a course, or buys a home, or buys a two-wheeler, uh, and so on and so forth, right? Like, you know where it ends. Now you need to kind of make certain assumptions of where it starts, and pin your marketing, or at least as it is called, the top funnel marketing, in those elements. It's like saying, ki, why do you want to buy a house? You could buy a house because you are thinking that it's a good investment. You could buy a house because you want to appear affluent. You may want to buy a house because you want to gift one to your parents. You may want to buy a house because your parents want you to buy a house. uh, you could want to buy a house because you always wanted to buy this branded home, you know. So there are these so many elements, that it could mean pride, it could mean envy. You may want to buy a house because you want to show your colleagues that you have moved ahead of them. Yeah, it could mean happiness, joy, nostalgia. It could be so many things. And if you are able to create some entry points, or as many entry points as you think it is possible, at where those journey you think it ends, or your company, I mean, basically the team thinks, I think you that's how you build those sort of flows. One of the I really like this scene from a film called Ratatouille. And there is this climax scene in which there is this very hard-nosed, almost devilish sort of a food critic comes in to eat at that restaurant, and he's given this dish, which is a very simple dish, that ratatouille, and it transports him back to his childhood. He's suddenly that very hard nosed, uh, that critic is suddenly become a child sitting at that table. When he takes that dish, I mean, one spoonful of that dish, he suddenly realized ki, hey, I'm a kid and this is what my mother gave me, this is what my warmth of childhood comes. I think that's marketing. If you are able to make a customer feel like that, whether you are selling a 10 rupee chocolate or whether you are selling a 1 crore rupee home, you are you are in a good position. I mean, you have made a very strong start. If your customer feels that, this home reminds me of my childhood, my grandparents house, this is the home where I will bring up my son or daughter in a way I I was brought up by my parents. If you are able to make that emotional hook, I think you are good. Now you need to, now once you have established the end point and the beginning point, then you have to just put in the marketing markers that one should not leave you. If you are, it's like, I take and I pass it on to the next person and the next person and the next person, except that in marketing there is nobody is next, so any it could come from, so there is nothing to say that the person will see the print ad and then they will see the digital and then it will see the outdoor. It could happen anywhere, so you need to create those endpoints, so to speak. uh, I mean, not endpoints, sorry, the nodal points, so that the customer can move smoothly from one point to another. And because it is a very long, if it is a very long journey, you need to keep in mind that the customer can end anywhere and they may come back later at a different point, and you need to be aware of that.
Towards the last part of the chat now, I want to actually cover the skills you see, future CMOs or future marketers should have. And this is a question on everybody's head, right? That AI is collapsing all these specializations. Like I've seen this in creative very deeply. I've grown doing animation since my eighth standard, and then learned many skills. It was like a pain, right? It's like, okay, wow, I have to learn 3D, then I have to learn motion graphics, and it's like UX UI. Today we are building these AI apps for our customers now. We are making AI agents now, and like I'm seeing one person do all of it together, right? It's all collapsing at an exponential rate. We've also seen, people saying, okay, CMO is like a CGO now, which is more growth related. We've seen a lot of senior leadership now saying, I don't want to be a CMO only. I'll just be a fractional CMO. I'll advise and many things. Um, People are saying engineers are becoming marketers, designers are becoming marketers, marketers are becoming designers. So it's like a chaos, especially in young people's mind right now. So if I was to, let's say, stay relevant, and I'm maybe in my early 20s, 10 years from now, what are the things you think I should kind of double down on in terms of my marketing skills?
Before the growth, before the sales, before the brand scores, which are typically what a CMO uh, owns nowadays, I think the first responsibility of the CMO and the marketing department is the consumer. I think that is a non-negotiable, and that should not change. And in the foreseeable future, AI cannot come in there. So, if I would recommend that somebody who is in, at any point in time, any point in the career they are in marketing, I would say that they have to gain a consumer understanding like no other. What is that insight? Why does your consumer, how does you do your consumers decide? What factors help them? The best way, and to my mind the only way, is for a marketeer to go out, observe through a variety of things. Sometimes it is intuitive that you say that, oh, the consumer looks for low price thing, so you keep seeing, and you say, yeah, consumer is buying a low price thing, and then suddenly you see, oh, this consumer did not buy the low price thing. Is it an aberration, or is this how consumers behave now? So you start observing more and you keep observing, and you say, hey, consumer is actually not buying the lowest price, the consumer is buying the highest value. So if they get a higher value, they are willing to increase their budget. So then suddenly your input metrics change, right? So therefore your output has to uh, get modified accordingly. So performance marketing itself is changing, and also how you are making creatives, because every single creative tool, be it Canva, be it Adobe there, or of course like the Gen AI tools on their own, everybody is offering you that opportunity to become a thing. So now you have a great position. You are saying that ki, hey, I don't have to depend on the designer. If I want to make a creative and try something, I can do it myself. I don't have to, you at 11 o'clock at night, you have a crazy idea about a creative, you can actually make it. Now comes the hard part, which I think was hard and is still hard. Now you have to check whether consumers like it or not. Now you have to do that again. What is your customer happy about? What is she scared about? What is he very fearful about? What is his aspiration in life? What is driving, what are his motivations, what is driving towards? So I think all those come in there. There are two aspects of marketing the way I see it. There is one aspect of what I was just saying, storytelling, but there is also another aspect of results. I think young marketeers undermine the importance of storytelling inside the marketing organization and undermine the importance of results outside the marketing organization. You cannot tell your CFO that, oh, we shot a beautiful ad with this celebrity and she said this thing in such a nice way that this is a beautiful film. He's not interested. He wants to know that will this ad sell more stuff, right? So therefore you need to tell him the results, saying ki we made this ad ran so many times and so many people bought because of that. On the other hand, if you burden your internal people, let's say your designer or your whoever, saying ki, I like you were saying that, I need 100 creatives and they need to go out at this point in time, and I will. Then you are undermining the storytelling, because consumers are not interested in your ad. They want to hear a nice story. They want to be entertained. They want to smile. They want to, that even if they feel sad, they want that happy ache, as it is called, and all of that. So you need to talk to your customers, or sorry, your internal people, about stories that will interest your customer. So young marketers cannot get too caught up in that, that performance, that this CTR is not working, this we need to change this and all of that. You telling, focus on your story, but at the same time, please be proud and go out there and talk about the results that you have achieved, because that's what the external world is interested in. You are in it probably for the, hopefully for the love of marketing, so you really enjoy the process of making a creative, or um, creating a beautiful design, a website, or a product feature, or whatever. But ultimately the guy outside is saying ki, but you spent X on this, did you get Y out of it? So I would urge, I mean, not young marketers, all marketers, because I do it myself all the time, to say that this balance between storytelling and results, always keep that ready.
Thank you so much. And for everybody who stuck along, if you'd like to hear another, marketing leader, please subscribe to our channels, and a new episode will come out very, very soon.